Why do we exist? And what is our ultimate goal?
Missouri Soybeans' strategy for the next 3 years is a farmer-drawn blueprint for organization staff. That staff is led by CEO Gary Wheeler, who talks to us on this edition of the Missouri Soybean Spotlight podcast about Missouri Soybean Merchandising Council priorities through 2028.
How did the strategic planning process begin for Missouri soybeans?
Well, Tom, first, it is one of the most important living documents. And the reason why is it's coming directly from the board, strategically derived from the farmer, given to the CEO, and the CEO to implement the tasks. So you have the strategic plan, strategic points, and it's me and my team that put forth and we build those strategies and tactics to achieve the goals of the farmer. It's quite an extensive process, my friend. We start with interviews. We interview other organizations outside of our own. How have we performed in the past? Even visiting with our own contractors. Where can we do better and where can we drop? There's a whole 9 months to a year to go into a strategic plan before it's even started on paper through interview process.
What are the guiding principles of Missouri Soybeans' strategic plan?
I would say, for lack of a better term, our mantra for Merchandising Council for our goal is this 3-year living document is back to the basics. Why do we exist, number one, and what is our ultimate goal? Just getting back to the basics of those achievements. The board has chose demand growth. It's how simple is that? How elementary is that? Proactive education, not only to the farmers, but that's the people that we work with 3 times removed. And one of the most important to the farmers is innovative research. Our board members, they don't come up with these ideas lightly. It's not just about how are they going to spend these resources. It's looking at what is needed and how are we going to achieve this in the simplest way. Think of lightning. What's the easiest way to get from point A to point B? It's the same thing. That's what we look at.
Through it all, this process is led and driven by farmers. What are the advantages of that element to this?
Well, it's grassroots, number one, and frankly, it is the only way for an organization like our own to derive the strategic plan. If the farmers are not involved, it is not a viable tool for the organization. It's not viable. There's no purpose for it if it's not being derived specifically from the farmer, which is one of the things that we get so excited about. Is we all get in a room for 2 days and we come to the conclusion at the end of the 2 days of where we're going to spend our time. And it's so refreshing for the staff as well because they get to see directly the farmers talk to one another strategically, but also, well, what if this or what if this? They ask them and they literally debate what the priority should be. That's where it's at. It's home.
What's your hoped-for outcome of strategic planning for how this unifies Missouri Soybeans' mission and positions the Missouri Soybean Merchandising Council?
Tom, it's to me and my staff, it's very simple. Number one, it brought us back to the basics, and that's really where we needed to be for the past 5 years. Through time, it's natural for humans that are type A personality, that are so aggressive that I've got to pull the reins back almost daily, there's things that are easily picked up through time. It's a reset. It's a reset for the organization to say, hey guys, let these things go. It's not priority. Let's reprioritize, or if it is a priority, let's focus on that, right? So it really helps staff, helps the board, helps new board members, helps our partners, that we can go and deliver and say, this is what we're focused on, this is what we're not focused on, and most importantly, it helps with the budget. If it's not in the budget, it's not in the strategic plan. If it's not in the strategic plan, it's not in the budget. It's pretty simple, and again, getting us all back to the basics, which I love.
Name some of the key areas of focus for this.
Again, demand growth, proactive education, innovative research. One of the priorities, and it's actually numbered number one, is fund relevant agronomic research for Missouri soybean farmers. And with that, number two is to basically communicate what we've researched to the farmers that paid for this research. And it could be as basic as ongoing SCN work, which is a $2 billion hit to soybean farmers every year on a national basis. We have to achieve excellence in that space, and that's one of our ultimate goals. But we're not doing our job if we don't communicate that. Another one is add more value. It's under demand growth. Add more value to the soybean within the state. So we need another crush plant. It's just plain and simple, Tom. We need another crush plant. We need the ability to feed more meal. What's the easiest way to do that? It's a crush plant. We take the oil. On the oil side, it's needed for renewable diesel. We're so focused on soy being a domestic use for biodiesel or biofuels. We have enough. We need to produce more. And adding that for our own biodiesel plants in the state of Missouri is a direct hit, adding value within the borders of the state of Missouri.
Let's talk about the challenges when it comes to strategic focus. What are some of the challenges you've identified?
Believe it or not, and I'm saying this with a smile, policy, politics, and regulations impact every farmer on a daily basis. We don't connect the two when it comes to policy and politics on the checkoff side, but we do educate on the policy side and looking at regulation. How is this going to impact? Looking forward, forecasting possible impact if something is put into place. For instance, our partner with United Soybean Board, they did a study on the lower Mississippi River, direct checkoff impact. They did the study. They showed Army Corps of Engineers what this impact could do if we dredged the lower Mississippi by only 6 feet or 9 feet. By sharing that, they seen the economic impact. That's all they had to do. Army Corps of Engineers did it. And now, not only is it a savings to the U.S. soybean farmer, it's bringing value now to the soybean bushel because we can move more and move it faster. So that's a perfect example of using checkoff on the policy side. On the regulatory, it's the same. It's the impacts. But initially, it is all about education and showing the farmer and our partners what can or can't be done. If it can't be done, it's still a win. If it can be done, it's even a bigger win.
Everything short of lobbying.
Exactly.
We often bring up partnerships, Gary, partnerships that help achieve some of Missouri soybeans' goals. What partnerships are important to you, and what would you hope to accomplish through these partnerships?
At my tenure here at Missouri Soybean, our existence, our positive existence and delivery is based solely on partnerships. That's how important partnerships are. Our strongest partnership, you could consider demand growth, proactive education, innovative research, a third, and a third as far as the investment. But what the farmer's most passionate about is innovative research. Our largest partner is University of Missouri. If we didn't have them as a partner and Foundation Seed, we would fail because they're our largest PI, investigator, researcher when it comes to this innovative research. Now, we have others. We have multiple others. I can't tell you how many contracts we have on annual. It's over 250. Our largest is on the research side. The other part is demand growth. We have to have the ABCs of the world to get our product to the global stage, to sell where we need to sell, right? We don't directly say, hey, we're going to sell these bushels to so-and-so in Japan. We don't have the opportunity to do that, but we do have the opportunity to partner with these entities to make sure that number 2 yellow is delivered in China or wherever we're selling. And mind you, I'm going to go out on a limb here. We still have to have China, Tom, to conduct our business. And if you think differently, give me a call right here at Soybean at the office. And the reason why is because they're still so large in buying our soybeans. There's no one out there in the near future, say within the 5 or 6 years, to be able to replace China. And so our partnerships are those grain companies or the Redwood Group up north of Marshall to say, hey, we're going to containerize some number 1 yellow to get down to Mexico. And we're doing these types of things. But we're partnering with the Redwood Group and others to make that happen. Ray Carroll, we're doing the same thing. Ray Carroll, the CEO, is going to be going to Mexico with us and Guatemala here in February. If we didn't have those partnerships, where would our demand grow? We got to continue to develop that. And I would say I shout out to USEC, U.S. Soybean Export Council, that we're so close with to help us get into new markets and continue to massage and maintain those markets like in China or elsewhere. And then on a proactive education piece, I would say this would be number 3, and all these are not necessarily in order, is partnering with Ag Education on the Move. We spend just a hair over $200,000 on Ag Education on the Move through Missouri Farmers Care, and it's been such an impact. That is in our strategic plan to continue to support them when it comes to proactive education. And we have found no other program that's been so impactful on third graders and others, and even FFA students that's part of the program, to the point that other states are saying, hey, where can we get attached to this program? Where can we find it? Where's the curriculum? I don't know what our saturation point is. We just finished up a strategic plan, but I do know it's very costly. So right now I think we're at 250, and I think to get to a saturation point to where we want to be, it's like 440. We've got a little work to do, but those are main 3 areas in our partners that's so very important. Again, our farmers wouldn't exist, this organizations wouldn't exist without partnerships.
After all of this and discussing what we've been discussing about the strategic plan, what do you think of the future of Missouri soybeans and of the farmers who are members?
Well, a lot of folks would say, naturally, you're going to say it's very strong because I'm the CEO. I want to keep my job. I want all this, right? Guys, we've got some challenges ahead of us, some real challenges. Are we going to succeed? We'll always succeed, but it's just where do you set that bar of succession, to succeed? And I will say through this strategic plan, Missouri Soybean Merchandising Council Board, they're very aggressive. One other thing, I think farmers that are not on this board should really think about visiting with their representative because that's who they are. They represent in those districts. Visit with them and let them know what you think. And if you don't care, tell them, I don't care. I trust you. I don't care what you do. Let them know that because we need feedback. Our farmers need feedback because they represent you, which is the fun part. There is no stupid idea. It's not. My staff can come up with whatever, and they'll think about it. They'll debate it in the appropriate manner. sometimes I'm like, eek, kind of squeach in board meeting, but that's where it's at. It truly is. It goes back to the board. And as long as we stay farmer driven and we continue to have the staff that we do, they know what success looks like. And just because you fail doesn't mean that's not success. I mean, that's what research is all about. Out of 10 projects, you might get 1 or 2 that's successful. The other 8 are still successful because you know not to go down that road again. Don't spend your money going down that road ever again. We know that. The same thing for policy or working with certain groups. It really goes back to being farmer driven. And as long as we continue to have that, we will always succeed. You know, there's other states that are awesome at what they do. But I think what makes us even more awesome, you're only as good as your staff, and you're only as good as your farmers. And if you have those two, you are so blessed. And I couldn't be any more blessed.
Missouri Soybeans Chief Executive Officer Gary Wheeler. Find this and other editions of the Missouri Soybean Spotlight wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on the air with the weekly Spotlight on Soybeans brought to you by Missouri soybean farmers and their checkoff. Thank you for listening. I'm Tom Stever.